Hey, what's up, guys? This is NorbCam coming at you. First, before I talk about this topic, I wanted to apologize mostly to Cameron Hughes. We were supposed to do our mock draft based on a strategy that he had put together. I was really looking forward to looking at that and sharing that with you and walking through that hypothetical Seahawks draft scenario. And unfortunately, due to weird YouTube problems that I've never run into before, it just didn't happen. I still don't know what's going on. I'm still going to have to figure out. Obviously, I can live stream right now. I'm doing fine on my phone, which usually is harder to do on your phone than even on your computer. So, not that that makes the legality of what I'm doing right now any more valid, but yeah. So sorry to Cameron Hughes. Really wanted to do that live stream, but I don't know what's happening with my YouTube account that wouldn't allow me to live stream, so I'm still hoping I can get it worked out, but I'm glad I can at least do it here on this on my phone. So just wanted to talk real quick. Today was a press conference, the first one in months, by Pete Carroll and John Schneider, and really their first time speaking out about everything. But primarily, it seemed like all the journalists' questions were all about the Russell Wilson controversy, and this was their chance to finally have to face the music, because this whole time they've been completely quiet and everybody's been speculating. And not to my surprise, because I've been saying this the whole time, that I thought there was never any issue. Summarize it by multiple questions being asked by different reporters, both John Schneider and Pete Carroll, confirming that everything is fine with Russell. Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson have been talking nonstop throughout this offseason. So their relationship is fine. John Schneider was asked, at any point, did you negotiate or even entertain negotiating with any other teams? And he said, nope. He said there were a lot of calls, which I expected would be the case following the news blitz that they had on that. But at no point did he actually engage in any kind of discussions about trade talks or anything like that. So it just goes to show. I don't know how many times we got to do this song and dance, but it seems like it happens every couple, 2-3 years about a Russell Wilson trade. But I think we can finally put to bed this speculation about something's wrong and Russell Wilson's no longer going to be a Seahawk. From everything, if you are to believe what Pete Carroll and John Schneider say, everything is fine on the home front. And Pete Carroll even said they didn't feel the need to address this because they knew the truth about the story. So they just figured they just need to sit back, let the wave media speculation run its course, and eventually the truth will come out. And I respect that aspect, because it's not their obligation to go out and have to explain themselves. In fact, the more they have to go out and explain things, the more it sounds like you're guilty sometimes when you have to come out and try to defend every rumor that's out there. So it was just nice to hear it for the first time. We haven't heard these guys talk in months, and it was good to just hear them confirm everything that at least I was figuring, and it kind of looked like it was going to be that case as the rumors started to die down and everybody started to realize, I think everything is fine. Anthony D in the Super Jet says, what up, big guy? Saw on Instagram about Sophie. Thank you very much. He's talking about the post that was initially shared by NPJ, North Pacific Juniors Volleyball Club, that Sophie and Vanessa are members of. Sophie made the North Puget Sound League all-team, that honorable mention for this high school year, and that's the first time she's ever received any honor for the league. So that was a pretty exciting thing. We'd heard other teams, other players who have been receiving awards, and we kind of wondered, I wonder if Sophie might possibly be up for one. We had no idea. We didn't even know how to look it up, and we just started to hear through the grapevine that we had the good news that came out yesterday. So we were very excited about that. I haven't even posted myself. I shared the post that NPJ Seattle had listed. So Sophie, congratulations. You know how much we're proud of you and everything, and hopefully this is just byproduct of your hard work. You and your sister both working hard, and hopefully they can continue to bring that work into continuation of their club season and then into next year for high school ball. So, yeah, that was very exciting news. But going back to this story, so I didn't have a chance to finish listening to the 1 hour Pete Carroll, John Schneider press conference. I just got into the meat of the Russell Wilson part. I even haven't had a chance to listen past that. But as far as what's happening next, we do have the draft tomorrow, as everybody's been keeping an eye on that knows. And I'm going to be live streaming it, not from my computer, which is probably a good thing because right now it's not working. I'm going to be in a remote location, meaning outside of home, meeting with a few familiar faces that you'll see tomorrow. So I will be live streaming and getting a few of the people who I'll be in person with as we all as a group react to a live stream over some pizza and drinks. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow, just to be able to see some people who I've only seen on a screen. So it's going to be fun to do that tomorrow in person. I'm really looking forward to that. So make sure you tune in because the draft starts, I think, 5 o'clock. So we'll be rolling right around that time. Even though the Seahawks don't have a draft pick, it'll still be fun to see what the other teams do in this first round. What else? I am working on a video that will come out hopefully sometime this week. I've been meaning to do this for a while, but I have gotten tape of every single Russell Wilson sack from 2021, and I'm going to do a video that basically shows every sack and gives a breakdown as to my take as to whose fault those sacks were, whether they're Russell Wilson's fault or they're the offensive line's fault, and then see how tabulate the numbers and see how it comes out, because I know a lot of people automatically blame the offensive line. I know there's a lot of people who blame Russell Wilson, saying that it's him hanging onto the ball too long trying to make something happen, that it's why he's been getting sacked. So I thought instead of just speculating on it, just throwing random guesses as to whose fault it is, I thought I need to systematically go through each sack very quickly and efficiently and break down how these sacks, in my opinion, where the blame lays, and let's see how it really turned out. Was it more Russell Wilson or was it more offensive line? And at this point, I don't know. I'm gonna let the video make that determination based on my criteria. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the results of that are going to be. So I expect that video coming out pretty soon. What else? So yeah, then draft, for the next 3 days. So we'll be doing that, and then I'm going to be doing a video hopefully soon here. I did a little interview with Kurt Warner and his wife, but there's a good chance I might be able to get Dave Craig as well to make an appearance, the former quarterback of the Seahawks during the 80s and into the early 90s. See if I can get those two from that era, from the offensive backfield of the Seahawks, to do a little interview to reminisce about football in the 80s and get their take on football now. So I've had a chance to talk with them both, in different meetings and phone calls, but not yet had the pleasure of having them both on camera. So that would be a blast. What did Pete and John say about Russ? Jeffrey G. Well, I guess you must have just tuned in late. I'll recap if you didn't hear my initial words, but in a nutshell, Pete Carroll, John Schneider were asked many questions about Russell Wilson, about was he being shopped around? Was he being negotiated with about potential trades? Are things good? Or is there concerns about his long term? And essentially every answer they gave was that everything is fine. There's been open communication all throughout this process. There were no negotiations ever. Oh, there's a little bunny on the sidewalk. You want to see the bunny? Look. It's a bunny. Hi, bunny. Okay. Bunny's gone. Okay. And then, asked about the future. Is Russell going to be the quarterback for the foreseeable future or long-term future? And without committing to an answer of saying he's our long-term quarterback, he said he's been our quarterback for a long time, and that is why he is. We have a contract that's set up for the foreseeable future, and we don't see anything changing anytime soon. It's essentially what they've kind of said in so many words. So I think now that that's official, the only person who hasn't been asked about it yet really directly is Russell Wilson himself. Whether he'll actually say that or not, we'll find out. But that's where it is on that front. So for anybody who's worried out there about Russell Wilson and what's going on with the Seahawks, I think we are going to be just fine. So let's just not sweat it. We're good. What else? Trade to the Bay, please, John and Shanny. Tagakale. I've been Norb's fan way before 80% of y'all were here. I remember you. It's good to see you again, man. Jeffrey, go Hawks. Yeah, man. Yeah, I look forward to hearing Russell Wilson say that at the end. My team, the Carolina Panthers, has traded Teddy Bridgewater to the Broncos. Yes, that did come out today. Teddy Bridgewater to the Broncos. The Broncos continuing to try to figure out who their quarterback is going to be. Is Teddy Bridgewater the answer? Or do they still have potential quarterback draft interest tomorrow? We shall find out. But I don't know if... see, I love you, Norb. Taga, is it Taga Kale or Taga Kale? I would say Kale. But, yeah, man, love you guys too. Niners going to pass on Fields. Menace 2045. Favorite non-Seahawk of all time? Awesome. This has turned into an Ask Norb session. Boy, that's tough. There's so many. I mean, the ones that jump to mind are, I think of Walter Payton. He was a great man, great player. So that's one. Barry Sanders, man, he was fun to watch run. I mean, there's thinking about running backs right there. Who else? Favorite non-Seahawks. There's so many players that you can. Troy Polamalu, great safety. Again, trying to think non-Seahawks. Hard to think non-Seahawks because you always think of your own. It's the ones you love. Joe Montana, yeah. Joe Montana was great. Jerry Rice. I mean, that whole, team was pretty awesome. I think Lynn Swann of the Steelers. Merlin Olsen, going old school there with some of the old school guys. Yeah. Jack Ham, the Steel Curtain back in the 70s, man. John C., why can't the Hawks figure it out and get linemen like Walter Jones and Hutchinson? Not defensive ends or defensive tackle converted after college. Just saying, that's all Wilson was asking for. Well, so John, here's part of the problem. When you're a team like the Seahawks, when you make the playoffs almost every year, that means you're drafting low, right? Because it means you're finishing as one of the top, 10 teams, which means you're drafting at least, in the 20s in the first round. So you're not getting perennial picks of the litter every year. Like if you're a crappy team, like for a while, San Francisco, crappy team for, good stretch after 2013. So they were, and even though they were getting high draft picks, it took them a while to finally rebuild that roster to where now they were able to really build up a team. The Jets have been perennially horrible, yet they've still had not done a very good job drafting. But, the reality is unless you've got those high picks, it's hard to get those future Walter Joneses and Steve Hutchinsons because you don't find as many of those great ones later in the draft. That's the whole idea, right? Because you're trying to make it, have parity so that the bad teams can get those great players to help them get better the following year. Now, Seattle has done some weird, sometimes unpredictable moves in the first round that haven't always panned out. I think we've had more luck in later rounds than we have in the first rounds. I think we've had less success in the first round than we've had in our later rounds. I can think of a lot of questionable / bust moves that just have not worked in the first. You know, when I think about, oh God, I always forget names when they're on the tip of my tongue. But, you know, when I'm talking about, Mike McDowell, right, the ATV guy. Not that anybody could have seen that coming, right? Nobody was going to foresee drafting him and then him getting into an ATV accident that would end his career before it even started. Although I heard that he might be back in the league. Somebody mentioned that. You know, so that was a waste. You know, Rashad Penny yet to be determined whether that move to get him in the first round is worth it. It's possible he could do something great in this next, you know, maybe this year this is a big coming out party and he becomes awesome and we all go, wow, it's a good thing we got him. You know, he's fantastic. You know, so we'll see about that. But, you know, there's still questions about like who else? You know, LJ Collier. You know, he wasn't first round, but he was up there, first pick, and yet to be determined. Is he going to be one that's going to pan out? You know, so I mean, those are just a few of the early round picks. Oh, then there's the guy who's no longer on the team anymore. Jermaine Ifedi. He was a first round pick, and he's not even on the team anymore. I don't even think he's starting. He's somewhere else now. But again, you hope that your first round pick turns into somebody that you would want to extend, give that second extension to, because you expect the talent to be that good in the first round. So, you know, and that's why, you know, when you look at all what they gave up for to get Jamal Adams and some of these other players, Carlos Dunlap, Jamal Adams obviously first in the list. Essentially, when they draft tomorrow and Seattle doesn't go, you can essentially imagine them going with the 20-something pick in the first round of the NFL draft, the Seahawks select Jamal Adams. Essentially is what that is. They just did it yet last year. They bet on the future. So that pick that we're missing out on now is the one that we got last year to get Jamal Adams already here. So when you think about that, and I don't think there's many people who are going to say Jamal Adams as a Seahawk is a bad move right now anyway. I think that's a pretty good deal. You know, obviously with more than just one pick, that's, you know, one of a few things they had to give up for him, but that's part of it to get him in here. But when you can get a proven talent like that, who, you know, led sacks last year for the team, most sacks by defensive back, I believe, and then all the stuff he did for in the run game and everything like that. You know, this guy's going to be a contributor for a while, and I'm sure they'll eventually, you know, extend him. If not now, hopefully before the season starts. But I think that's going to happen. I don't think there's too much concern about that one. KL 12th man, bringing up the Julio Jones thing. I've noticed ever since they talked about the Julio Jones contract issues with Atlanta, Seattle picking up Julio Jones. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. We've got a number one and number two receiver. That's already enough from the standpoint of you got two receivers, you got to figure out how you're going to get them the ball. We do need that number three receiver and, of course, a number four, but you don't need Julio Jones in there. I mean, I really like the idea that we've already determined that, you know, you can debate Lockett number one, DK Metcalf number two, or Metcalf number one and Lockett number two. Probably the other way. I think Lockett technically is the number one. It's just Metcalf looks like a number one. But you got two guys who got over 1,000 yards last year. They're going to be productive again this year. You don't need another guy who's going to need to get 1,000 yards. You just need another guy who can be a complementary piece, who can get open, who can be a possession receiver, who can, you know, just take some of the pressure off of those two guys. You know, maybe we already have one in Freddie Swain. I think we'll know eventually. But there's a lot of receivers in this draft, so I think Schneider is going to, you know, since we're not doing the pick, what is going to happen, I know that Cameron's plan was to take the 3 picks, turn them into 6. I think we're going to drop out of the second round, acquire 2 more, and then drop out one more time and get another, and then draft after that. And I believe his priorities were to get where did he go? It was, I think, center, cornerback, edge rusher, somewhere in there, a defensive tackle. I said wide receiver, right? If I didn't say wide receiver. Another corner. I think another edge rusher, and then I can't remember after that. But those we didn't. I don't think. Yeah, that was something like that. But yeah, so we'll see how that plays out come Friday. It won't be tomorrow. It'll come Friday. See if that comes to pass. So I will do a live stream, and hopefully, if it's working, live stream the draft. Get some Discord calls in there. Maybe I can bring Cameron. Well, he'll probably live stream himself, so he probably won't be available. But we'll see. Maybe I can get him to pop in, at least talk a little bit, see how much it compares to what he was going to do on his board. But we'll see what happens. But I'm going to jump back in. I want to try to figure out center, cornerback, wide receiver, and offensive tackle is what I think we need. I agree on the first three. Definitely need a cornerback, center, wide receiver. I think we need a defensive tackle and edge rusher. I'm going to try to go back in and figure out what the heck is going on with my live streaming issues. But again, tomorrow, join me at 5 o'clock Pacific time for live coverage and some surprise in-person guests for the NFL draft tomorrow. All right. Have a great evening, everybody. Don't forget to sub, if you wouldn't mind, please. Smash, comment, and hit that like button. And click on some videos over here. Check out some other things. All right, have a good one. Talk to you guys later. Go Hawks.